The HR Happy Hour Network is sponsored by WorkHuman. AI is everywhere, but here's what most headlines miss. AI is only as good as the data that feeds it. WorkHuman has built the world's deepest well of recognition data, peer-to-peer messages celebrating real achievements in the workplace. Now, they're using AI to transform this data into actionable people insights. For the first time ever, companies can discover hidden skills across departments. They can spot quiet leaders and identify who needs support and understand their people dynamics at scale. It's called human intelligence, and it's so powerful that WorkHuman guarantees measurable cultural improvements that drive real business results. Head on over to workhuman.com to learn more. WorkHuman, a proud supporter of the HR Happy Hour Network. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the HR Happy Hour Network. This is the play-by-play podcast hosted by myself, Jack McFarlane, and Nick Schlemmer.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Well, we've got another super exciting episode for you guys. Today, we're kind of shifting back to more of the business focus. We kind of do more of a fun one, more of a business one. So back to business today. And I've got an interesting topic for us. It's something that everyone who's ever worked has gone through, and I'm sure has a lot to say about it, and that is training. So let's just get right in. I kind of want to get your initial thoughts, Nick. When you think of job training, what is like the first couple things that come to mind?
Yeah, first couple things that come to mind, job training. I think, it varies off of the job that you're starting. Because, me and you, we've had, a few different jobs in different industries per se.
Mm-hmm.
And, a retail sales associate job training might look a little bit different than us working at the country club. So, I think training it's very different depending on what you're going into.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've had a number of different jobs, and we'll kind of, as the episode goes on, go through our own experiences, but that is 100% true. But there's also similarities between everything.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, we'll get into all that. But let me hit you with a statistic here, Nick, and maybe you felt this. I know I've at least felt this when applying for jobs and internships, but according to Radstan's Gen Z Workplace Blueprint report from this month, the beginning of this month, 46, which is September 2025, 46% of Gen Z reported being rejected from a role because they lack the necessary skills. Some of the skills that the workplaces are looking for are not really technical, and they're more soft skills like communication, teamwork, and critical thinking. The other problem I see a lot is rejected for experience, and I feel like they kind of go hand in hand. Like, how do you get a job that needs experience, but you need a job to get experience? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's becoming a pretty big problem. It even said that a significant number of employees agree that recent grads are not ready for the professional world. This could be due to a lot of people think it's due to the rise of AI and technology getting better. So it's a lot easier in school if you just want to cheat and not learn. COVID had a lot to do with that, with not being in class. So maybe you didn't get the best education that you could have got. So this is why training is super important, because if you could go into a job, Nick, let's say you went into, I don't know, just some random job that you have never even heard about. If you had a good enough team around you, a good enough boss, mentor, whatever, and they could train you, you would learn to do that job. So this 100%. Is where training can really help the lack of skills or the lack of knowledge.
There's something that I wanted to touch on there, Jack. You mentioned, being rejected for the skill part of it. And like you said, with COVID and the transition to like online everything, something that I thought of that would maybe help the first time person going into their first job or looking for their first job would be kind of those online assessments that you can take, whether it's like if you heard of like the CMAA, like Club Managers Association, a whole bunch of different soft skill stuff that you can get certified in. I mean, even over the summer, I was certified in the state of Florida for online skills and technical skills. And that's just something that you could throw on the resume
That is
maybe
genius.
catch their eye a little bit, where it's like, okay, I haven't had a job yet, so I don't have too much experience, but I have all of these little skills that could, filter into it.
And that's amazing, because like you can write anything on a resume. You're not supposed to, but you could write you have all these skills. If you have the certification for it, then it's proof that you really do.
Yeah.
And that's a great way. I might have to do some of that. That's a great way to stand out on your resume. So that is a brilliant idea. Let's jump in to kind of the meat of this episode. And I've titled it, training isn't hitting the mark. Gen Z places a high value on professional growth, with 76% stating that learning is a key to successful career. And that's kind of like what we said before. You could go into a job not knowing anything, but if you have great training and a great team around you, then 100%. You will succeed. So I'll start us off with a personal story of a bad training. So I've done a couple different jobs. One job was retail sales at the mall. And I show up and they've got this old, it's a small store. So we've got one register, old computer. So it has a lot of, you'd have to enter this like 10-digit code every time before you wanted to use the register.
Yeah.
You had to do I don't even remember now, but it was like muscle memory at the time. All these different things just to do the register. So a lot to learn. I show up to my first day and I'm working with somebody and she's training me with quotes. And there's this big book. So, okay, read the book. That'll tell you everything you need to know. And then I watched her do one sale. And then she's like, okay, go for it. And then after that, I was on my own. And I had to read through this book. I made so many mistakes. Customers got mad at me. I'm like, I'm going as fast as I can. Like it was a pain. Like it was probably a good 2.5 weeks before I was like pretty confident in doing this easy sales job. And then it was such a small store that I was by myself every time. A couple times we'd have 2 people, but I was by myself. So then if I did have a question, there was no one to even ask. So it was a real pain.
It sounds
that,
like
and that training is horrible. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't
how
heard
they
of
thought that was work.
I haven't heard of somebody pulling out a book nowadays.
Yeah, it was like this old, well, I call it a book. It was more of like a binder with laminated pages, but they were so old that it wasn't like clear anymore. It was like starting to change. It was old. It was very interesting. The training was not good. It took a long time to get used to that.
I've had the opportunity too of doing kind of the register work. A lot bigger company. I worked at Dick's Sporting Goods for a while, and so that one was a lot different than all the story you just told me. I had somebody right behind me for 2-3 days, kind of do this, nope, do that. Yeah. And plus we had to go in the back, and my whole first day was nothing but videos and online training. Might have been the most boring day, but it showed
set you up for
success.
Right. So that's good training. That's what this place needed. And I do have an experience like that. I'll share it real quickly. I worked at Denny's training. Very good. Just like you said, first day you're there, it is all training videos. And since you're working with food, like food safety, what to do if something goes wrong, all this stuff took all day long. And then for the whole first week, you had someone there helping you with any questions. You got to know everything, not just your job, but you got a rundown of every job. That way you always knew what was going on. They did a great job. Believe it or not, Denny's, great trainers. But, kind of a symptom of this horrible training is that 44% of Gen Z employees say they're likely to quit their jobs in the next 6 months because their company does not support their career development. Yep. This store I worked at, I'm trying to remember. I think I worked there exactly 6 months. A sign of a not great job environment that doesn't really care about you is a job that doesn't want to train you. If they can't even care enough to give you proper training, there is no way they're going to care enough to move you up the ranks, give you a raise, anything like that. Mm-hmm. And usually my experience is bad training is bad work environment, which is a whole nother problem. And this store had it. I'm not going to name them by name. None of you would know it. It's not like a popular brand. But yeah, no, I think I lasted 6 months there. It was very toxic.
Yeah. But and Jack, that 44%, it's kind of interesting in my mind, because whenever I think of Gen Z, and we're Gen Z, but we've had the opportunity to build ourselves and kind of build our resume already. Whereas, I feel like this 44% is that late Gen Z, who is going into their first job. Because their first job, you might only be there for 6 months.
Yeah,
it's probably not.
And a good point is, with it being Gen Z, a lot of this is not necessarily professional jobs too. This includes all jobs, which is a lot of summer jobs, part-time jobs, stuff like that, which have a lot of high turnover. And the 44% isn't just due to training, but training is a big factor in it.
I will say, though, that high turnover seems to be more of a, how do I want to say this, a natural thing, I guess. Like back in the day, it used to be like that was frowned upon. Like our grandpa worked at the same place for a very long time.
No, that's a great point. It's definitely becoming normalized to, it's, you don't like it, jump ship and go on to the next.
If there's an opportunity somewhere else next door, you go for it. Like,
And we could do a whole episode on that, and maybe we will one day, talk about maybe the benefits, or I can't. I mean, maybe the benefit would be like if they're paying more, but I think me and you are both like, it's worth it to stay somewhere, show loyalty, and
100%.
Eventually, in the end, it'll be better. But it's definitely becoming normal to just jump ship if you don't like what's going on. So let's talk about I want you to imagine, Nick, that you are starting a new job. What, in a perfect world, what does the training look like to you? Like, what would you want your perfect training to look like?
So I think straight away, the first few days, I think just how I learn and how I operate, I'm very hands-on. Like, you show me the skills, I see it, I watch you do it. I'm going to learn a lot faster than me sitting at a computer and watching the videos. So I think my first few days, ideally, would be, I'm just shadowing somebody. I'm just following them around, seeing what they're saying, what they're doing, what their body language is like, everything like that. Everything that's face on with customers. And then I say, if there's any technical stuff, whether it's the register, then maybe, okay, like, hey, you seem to be forgetting this particular part of the register system. Let's go watch a video on it. I think I'd be hands-on and then more video training. What about you?
I'm the same way. Like, my number one would definitely be hands-on. I think that's the best way to learn, no matter what job it is. Like, my internship this summer was online, so I wasn't with anybody, but first day, a lot of meetings to help me, a lot of Zoom. I could ask questions at any time. It was, although I wasn't physically with anybody, I had people by my side to help me, and it was as hands-on as it could get. So, like, first day, go in, Zoom call, they share their screen, show me what to do for this first task, and then I share my screen and do it while they're watching, and they help me with any mistakes. So it was as hands-on as an online could be. But hands-on, number one. And then number two for me would be just having someone there that it can answer questions at any time. Because and I know that can be hard, especially in jobs that are super busy all the time. Like at this store I worked in, if I had a question, I mean, I had the person I could call, they would never pick up. They just wouldn't pick up. I could text the other employees, they would never respond. So I would like someone that is there, like a help desk, to at least be able to answer some questions. So those are like, those are my two big ones. And that kind of goes along with what these studies have found. Hands-on is a huge pull in what Gen Z wants for training. They like that over the lectures and videos and stuff like that, which are good. Don't get me wrong, they help, but the best way is hands-on. Surprisingly, though, and neither of us said this, and this kind of caught me off guard, but according to Adobe's 2023 Future Workplace Study, mentorship was the top priority, as 83% of Gen Z employees say that was crucial for their success in the company. Over hands-on experience, over anything. Mentorship was the top. Training, which mentorship goes beyond training but can help. And that kind of caught me off guard until I started to think about it. Have you, like, when you started your working at the golf courses, like, I'm sure you've had some mentors, like mentorship.
Oh yeah.
What have you seen with that? Has it helped a lot? Has it actually been, maybe overrated? What are your thoughts on mentorship?
No, I would say mentorship, just like you said, it's a top priority, or it should be a top priority for anybody, not just Gen Z. And everybody should have some sort of a mentor that they can look up to. But for me, having that mentor didn't come right away, like in those first training days, you had to build relationships first with the people around you. Then it kind of happened more naturally to where you're more comfortable asking these questions whenever you want. Because, sometimes asking a question that you're struggling with something, but you feel like you don't want to ask a question because you don't want to mess up.
It could be embarrassing, or
And
what if it's a dumb question? I totally get that.
And they'll always say, nothing's a dumb question whenever it's your first day on the job, or like first week on the job. But for me, it was about building that relationship with somebody first. Then they kind of naturally became a mentor, and then that relationship just grew stronger from that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thinking back on all the jobs I've had, I think that's kind of how it went too. The more I think about it, it's not like in the NBA or the NFL. You're a rookie and you show up and they basically assign you a mentor, right? Like, it's like first day, boom. And I'm sure some jobs do that as well, where it's first day, boom. I'm your boss. This is Nick right here. He is your guy. He's going to help you. You have questions, you can ask me, but go to Nick. Okay. He knows what he's doing. He will guide you, and he'll be there for anything you need. I know places do that, which is great. But it can be a little awkward, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I get that. Like, my first day working at the golf course in the pro shop, it was good training. It was 1 day of training. That's all it takes to work in the pro shop at my course. 1 day of training. And I mean, I had worked there for a year, so I already knew most of it. It was more of learning the system, which was not hard. So I think 1 day was adequate, but it did feel like every time I had a question, I was like, I don't want to ask it because it's so stupid. Like, I know it's a stupid question. I just can't remember it. But I just needed to ask the question because the guy I was working with is fantastic. He helped me every time. And yeah, I feel like my assistant pro is a great mentor now. The first days, like, couple days I started, we only talked a little bit, but now I feel like, I felt that connection, just like I'm sure you have with your pros or whoever it may be.
100%.
Yeah, it's definitely, not only does it make the job easier and more helpful, but it makes it a lot more fun. Like, you're excited to go into work. You've got people that you like, that you trust, that you can just talk to. And it's not always work related. It's more, having a mentor is like having a best friend in the workplace. Like, so it's someone you can go to for anything, even if you just, work's really stressful. I need a 5-minute break. Let's talk about, the Utah football game or whatever. Sadly, where I'm at, it's all about the BYU football game, and I've got one coworker who is a Utah fan, and he's a mentor too. I see him at the games all the time. He'll tap me on the shoulder. I have 100,000 people there, and maybe not 100,000. That's probably not right. Our stadium's not that big, but yeah, no, mentorship is great. But for some reason, something I wouldn't have thought of, at least not off the top of my head.
Yeah. And I think a big thing that kind of ties to the mentorship side of it is, this honestly goes to anybody, again, not just Gen Z, is what I've experienced is if you find a place that has good company culture, their culture is good, their mission statement is really good, they're adding the employee into that somewhere. Everything else, the training, the mentorship, everything else kind of falls right into place.
Yeah.
from what I experienced.
No, I agree. And you know what? It's like when we said earlier with that, was it 44% stat of the leaving the job in 6 months? It's the opposite of that, right? So if you're going into a company that has a great culture, great people, then the training is just naturally going to be fantastic just because that's a part of the culture. And I think that's a fantastic point that it's you're not going to see a company that has a horrible culture and is very toxic, but has top of the line training. Or it's rare, I would say. It's rare. I'm not saying, I won't say impossible. Maybe there is. But most of the time, a company that's going to have good training and good resources is one that's going to have a great culture and that values you and wants you to succeed, even if it's in that part-time job. You know, this goes from and that's what's great about this is it applies to everybody, no matter what job you have. Okay, you're never going to go into a job and know 100% how that company does it, right? You could register at 30 different stores and they probably do it 30 different ways.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, training is a huge thing. The last thing I want to just ask you, Nick, is if you were to look into the future, is there anything you think could help training that maybe isn't doing it now, like the use of AI or anything? Like, so my thought behind it is mentorship is a huge benefit, but not one that I really thought of right away. You know, I thought of hands-on training. Is there anything like that where it's maybe somehow using AI in training that people aren't really thinking of that could create this huge benefit? Or, I mean, maybe there's not. I don't know. I'm just curious to see what you think.
Yeah, you know, everything we've touched on so far has been what I've experienced, and it's worked very well for me personally. One thing that I've only done a handful of times, and it always seems like the most embarrassing thing to do. But what they would have us do, this was down in Florida at Boca West, is we were learning, I'm blanking on the word, hard conversations, having a hard conversation with somebody. A lot of times, you know, you don't want to have that conversation, and that's going to happen a lot in a job. They're going to get mad or whatever, and you just kind of want to say, okay, go on your way. We actually did like just a scripted role play of having of having these hard conversations. And so we did that like on a Tuesday, and sure enough, later that week, I had to have a hard conversation with somebody, and it was almost like they saw the script that we had just did. Because we were literally having the conversation that I just practiced doing. I was like, oh, that worked out very well. So it's like, it's a training thing. It's going to feel really weird, kind of bad. It was silly. Yeah, silly to do. But it's like you practice saying these particular lines to somebody that you might not think of off the top of your head.
That's genius. Or that's like ingenious. That's exactly the answer I was looking for. I mean, that is such an uncommon training.
Unique, I guess.
It's very unique, but man, is that effective. I almost wish that we did something like that on my first day working in the pro shop. Here comes a guy all, you know,
bring up a couple sleeve of balls,
complaining, and it's like, you know, the guy called us chicken. We didn't even know how to respond to that. I mean, that's a crazy story. That's a crazy story. In the end, we worked it out, but that is, you know, I want to leave it right there. That is a perfect example of how you can think outside the box and really improve your training. And training really is one of the biggest factors of a job. So let's take a quick break. Then we'll come back and hit you with a quote of a show, everybody's favorite. So hang tight.
All right, everybody, we are back and we're wrapping up today's episode with the quote of the show. Jack, hopefully, you know, I keep the streak going. Hopefully I got another good one for you here.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I don't know.
So, this one is by a gentleman, is by Robert Collier is his name. He said, "Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out." Those small efforts could be in training, like we talked about. Those small efforts could be customer experiences. It could be in anything, any job. it's all those little small efforts, it's.
Yeah. Well, that's perfect. I think you've extended your streak. I'll let the audience decide. I think that goes perfect with training. I mean, training at the end of the day really is learning all the small things over and over again. Mm-hmm. It's very rare. In your case, it did happen where you get trained for the not so common stuff. It's usually, okay, working at the golf course, train you. Here's what you do when someone checks in for the tee time. Here's what you should say when you answer the phone. Here's what you should do when someone crashes the golf cart into the water and comes up there. I don't know what to do there. So I think that is perfect. Great quote, Nick.
Thank you. Well, everybody, thank you again for tuning in to another episode. Me and Jack have had a blast doing these, and there's a lot of good things coming up in the future. Let's make 2025 strong.
Yeah, we're going to finish the year strong. Just like Nick said, thank you guys so much for listening, and we hope you have a great day.
Bye for now.